The sun was setting behind the church, casting long orange streaks across the cemetery. The air smelled faintly of lilies and rain, the kind of scent that always reminded Nia of her father's garden. She stood still, clutching her black handbag, as the pastor's final words echoed through the quiet. May his soul find eternal peace. People began to drift away. Distant cousins, church members, old friends who spoke in hushed tones. But Nia stayed. She wasn't ready to leave. Her father, Harold Bennett, had been the backbone of their family, a self-made man who built his small construction business from scratch. Everyone respected him. Everyone feared him a little too. Nia stared at the coffin, her heart heavy. "Goodbye, Daddy," she whispered. "I hope you knew I tried my best." A soft hand touched her shoulder. It was her older sister, Vanessa, tall, confident, dressed like she'd just walked out of a corporate meeting. "Nia, come on. Let's go. The lawyer's waiting at the house." Nia nodded but didn't move. "You go ahead. I'll be right behind you." Vanessa sighed impatiently and walked away, her heels clicking against the wet stone path. When Nia finally turned, she caught her brother, Reggie, watching her from a distance. He gave her a small, almost pitying smile, the same one he'd been giving her since their father's death. The kind that said, "You'll be fine, kid. Don't expect much." By the time Nia reached the family home, the air inside was thick with tension. The house, a beautiful 2-story brick home with years of memories, now felt like enemy ground. A dozen relatives sat scattered across the living room. Her Aunt Laverne was already whispering gossip. Vanessa stood by the window with a glass of wine, and Reggie leaned casually against the wall, pretending not to care. The family lawyer, Mr. Jacobs, an elderly man with kind eyes, adjusted his glasses and opened a brown envelope. "As per Mr. Harold Bennett's wishes," he began, "we are gathered here to read his final will." The chatter died instantly. Mr. Jacobs continued, "Your father was very specific in how he wanted this handled. He said, and I quote, 'Don't fight over what's already decided.'" A nervous laugh escaped someone in the back. He cleared his throat and began reading. "To my beloved daughter Vanessa, I leave my gold watch and my business records. To my son Reggie, my vintage car collection. To my sister Laverne, the family jewelry." Vanessa smirked. Reggie raised an eyebrow. Then came the pause. Mr. Jacobs looked at Nia, then back down at the paper. "And to my youngest daughter, Nia Bennett." The room grew still. Mr. Jacobs exhaled. "I leave ownership of my company, my house, and all remaining assets, including my savings and estate." The silence that followed was deafening. Vanessa's wine glass slipped from her hand, shattering on the floor. Reggie straightened, disbelief etched on his face. "What?" Vanessa snapped. "That has to be a mistake." Mr. Jacobs shook his head. "It's written clearly. Everything goes to Nia." Aunt Laverne gasped dramatically. "The quiet one? The one who still lives at home?" Reggie muttered under his breath. "This can't be right." Nia just sat there, her hands trembling, her heart pounding so hard she could barely hear anything else. Her father's voice echoed in her memory, something he'd once told her as a child. Sometimes, the one who says the least sees the most. And now, as every eye in the room turned toward her, some angry, some shocked, and some filled with envy, Nia realized that her father's final gift wasn't just money. It was the truth no one had ever wanted to see. The next morning, the Bennett house didn't feel like home anymore. It felt like a battlefield waiting to erupt. Nia sat at the kitchen table sipping cold coffee, trying to steady her breath. The entire night had been filled with whispers, doors slamming, muffled arguments, and the heavy footsteps of anger pacing through the hall. When she heard Vanessa's heels clacking across the tile, Nia braced herself. Vanessa entered, immaculate as ever, her silk robe tied tight like armor. "Morning," she said flatly. Nia hesitated. "Morning." Vanessa leaned against the counter, crossing her arms. "You slept well? Must be nice, knowing you just inherited everything." Nia looked down, uncomfortable. "I didn't ask for this, Vanessa." Vanessa scoffed. "Please. You think Dad just accidentally left you the entire estate? You must have talked him into it. You were always the soft one. always hanging around him while the rest of us were out there working. That's not fair, Nia replied quietly. I helped him with his meds, his appointments, the company files. Vanessa slammed her hand on the counter. Exactly. You had access. You probably influenced him when he was sick. The accusation cut deep. How can you say that? Nia whispered, her voice shaking. He was dying, Vanessa. I took care of him when you wouldn't even visit. Vanessa's eyes flashed. Don't you dare make this about guilt. You think you're the hero? You're just the last person he saw. And maybe the easiest one to fool. Before Nia could respond, Reggie walked in, shirtless, rubbing his eyes. What's going on now? Your sister, Vanessa snapped. Thinks she deserves everything Dad built. Reggie sighed. Vanessa, calm down. No, you calm down, she interrupted. She's not even capable of running his business. She can barely run her own life. Reggie rubbed the back of his neck, glancing at Nia. She's got a point, Nia. You never even showed interest in Dad's company. Why would he give it all to you? Nia swallowed hard. I don't know. Maybe he saw something in me that you both didn't. Vanessa laughed bitterly. Oh, please. He probably felt sorry for you. The fragile little girl who couldn't move out of his house. That was the last straw. Nia stood up, her chair scraping harshly against the floor. You both talk about him like he was some cold-hearted man who just handed out pity. But he knew you, both of you. He saw the greed, the pride, the way you treated him like a paycheck. He left it to me because he trusted me, not because I asked, but because I earned it. For a brief second, silence fell, sharp and heavy. Then Vanessa smirked. We'll see about that. What's that supposed to mean? Nia asked cautiously. Vanessa turned toward the doorway. It means I'm calling Dad's lawyer again. I want that will rechecked. And if there's any sign of manipulation, you'll lose everything. Reggie sighed, watching his sister storm off, then muttered, You might want to lawyer up. Nia, Vanessa's not going to drop this. As he left, Nia leaned against the counter, her chest tightening. The morning sun glowed through the blinds, but all she felt was darkness. She reached for her phone and opened the last message her father ever sent her. It was short, just one line. If they knew what I did, they'd never forgive me. Her heart skipped. What did he mean by that? For the first time since the funeral, Nia felt something stronger than grief. Suspicion. Her father hadn't just left her everything. He'd left her a mystery. The house had grown quiet again, but not peaceful. The kind of silence that follows a storm, when everything looks calm yet nothing feels safe. Nia walked down the hallway slowly, her father's words still echoing in her mind. If they knew what I did, they'd never forgive me. Each creak of the wooden floorboards felt like a whisper from the past. She pushed open the door to her father's study, a place she hadn't entered since the funeral. The faint smell of old books and cedar hit her instantly, mixed with the lingering scent of his aftershave. Everything looked untouched. Papers neatly stacked, a half-finished crossword puzzle on the desk, and his reading glasses resting on top of a worn leather notebook. For a moment she just stood there, letting the memories wash over her. The nights he sat here with her, explaining invoices, business deals, teaching her how to read people more than papers. But tonight she wasn't here for memories. She was here for answers. Nia sat at the desk and opened the drawers one by one. Receipts, blueprints, letters from clients. Nothing unusual, but when she reached the bottom drawer, she noticed something odd. The base of the drawer didn't sit flat. There was a small wooden ridge. She pressed it gently, and a hidden compartment popped open with a soft click. Inside was a sealed envelope, yellowed at the edges, addressed in her father's handwriting. To Nia, for when I'm gone. Her hands trembled as she broke the seal. Inside was a letter, a long one, written in black ink that had slightly faded. She began to read aloud softly, her father's voice echoing in her mind. My dearest Nia, if you're reading this, it means I've left you with more than a house or a company. I've left you with truth. There's something I never told your brother and sister. Something that would change the way they see everything. And me. You are not just my daughter. You are the reason I learned what love really means. Nia paused, confusion flooding her thoughts. She continued reading. Before I married your mother, I made a mistake, one that cost me a lot, including my first family's trust. But that mistake gave me you. You are my second chance, Nia, and though the world may see you as weak, I saw your strength long before anyone else. The will I left behind isn't just inheritance, it's confession. The truth is, I built the company using money that didn't entirely belong to me. It was supposed to be shared with your uncle, but he betrayed me first. I never told anyone because I didn't want the family name stained. If Vanessa and Reggie ever find this out, they'll see my gift to you as guilt, not love. But you'll understand someday why I chose you. Nia's breath caught in her throat. She read the final line again and again. Protect the truth. It's heavier than gold. Her eyes blurred with tears. She folded the letter carefully, her heart pounding with the weight of what she'd just learned. Her father had built their life on a lie, but he'd trusted her to carry the truth. Suddenly, she heard a soft creak from the doorway. She turned quickly and froze. Vanessa stood there, her eyes wide, her expression unreadable. How long have you been standing there? Nia asked, her voice trembling. Vanessa stepped closer, her gaze fixed on the letter in Nia's hand. Long enough, she said coldly. To know you've been keeping secrets, too. Nia clutched the letter to her chest, realizing that the secret her father left behind had just become the next weapon in the family war. The next morning came heavy with tension, like the calm before another storm. The Bennett family home no longer felt like shelter. It felt like a trap. Nia hadn't slept. The letter lay hidden beneath her pillow, but the weight of its words pressed against her chest all night. When she finally walked downstairs, the air was thick, too quiet, too still. Vanessa sat at the dining table, fully dressed, her expression sharp and calculated. Reggie sat beside her, scrolling through his phone, pretending not to notice the storm brewing right next to him. Morning, Nia said softly, but neither of them replied. Vanessa lifted her gaze slowly, a faint smirk on her lips. Rough night? She asked, her tone too casual to be kind. Nia didn't answer. She poured herself some coffee, her hands slightly trembling. Vanessa leaned back in her chair, watching her sister like a hawk. You know, I had an interesting dream, she began. In it, Daddy wasn't exactly the saint we thought he was. Nia froze. What are you talking about? Vanessa's smile grew colder. You tell me. You were the one sneaking into his study last night. Reggie looked up, frowning. What's going on? She found something, Vanessa said, her voice dripping with satisfaction. A letter. Daddy's little confession. Nia's heart sank. You read it? Oh, I didn't have to, Vanessa said, standing up. You read it for me? Loud and clear. Reggie's confusion deepened. What confession? Vanessa crossed her arms. Apparently our father built this family's empire using money that wasn't entirely his. And guess who knew the truth? Sweet little Nia. Reggie's jaw tightened. Nia, is that true? Nia took a shaky breath. It's not what you think. He explained everything. He was betrayed first. He didn't want the family to fall apart. Vanessa laughed, cold, mocking. Oh, please. You'll say anything to protect him. Or yourself. That's not fair, Nia snapped, her voice breaking. You're twisting his words. I'm exposing them, Vanessa shot back. Do you realize what this means? If this gets out, everything, the business, the house, even our name, it all becomes tainted. And you're the only one who knew. You're the one holding the evidence. Nia's hands tightened around her coffee cup. I wasn't hiding it. I was trying to understand it. Vanessa stepped closer, her eyes burning. You had no right to decide what this family can or can't handle. You think you're the chosen one, the special one, but you're just a pawn in his guilt. Enough. Reggie yelled, slamming his fist on the table. Both women fell silent. We just buried the man. Can we not destroy each other too? But Vanessa wasn't listening anymore. Her focus stayed locked on Nia. You know what I think? She whispered. I think Dad left you everything not out of love, but to bury the truth. You were his cover-up. The words hit like a knife. Nia felt her chest tighten, her eyes sting. You can believe whatever helps you sleep, she whispered back. But I know why he trusted me. Because I don't lie to protect myself. Vanessa smirked, her tone icy. We'll see who's lying when the truth comes out. And with that, she walked out, her heels echoing like gunshots across the floor. Reggie exhaled, rubbing his face. Nia, she's serious. She's going to the lawyer. She might even go to the press. Nia stared at the doorway where Vanessa had disappeared. Then I have to find the rest of the truth, she said quietly. Rest of it? Reggie asked. Nia nodded slowly. That letter, it felt incomplete. Like he wanted me to discover something else. Reggie frowned. You think he left more? I don't think, she said, glancing toward the study. I know. I remember the silence that filled that room, like the air had turned heavy. Aunt Celia just stood there, her lips trembling, eyes darting between me and the lawyer. Everyone looked confused, even angry. Then Mr. Green, the lawyer, cleared his throat and said, There's one more thing your father asked me to play for you. He pressed play on a small recorder, and suddenly, my father's voice filled the room. If you're hearing this, it means I'm gone. But I wanted you all to understand something. For years I watched you all fight, envy, and measure worth in money. But real worth is in heart. The only one who ever came to see me, even when I had nothing, was Maya. My breath caught. My cousins looked away. My mother covered her face. Maya never wanted my money. She just wanted time. So I've given her everything. Not for her comfort, but as a test for all of you. Maybe now you'll learn what family truly means. When the recording ended, nobody spoke. You could hear the clock ticking on the wall. Later that night, I sat in my father's old chair, holding that will in my hand. I wasn't smiling. Not even a little. It didn't feel like victory. It felt like a burden I hadn't asked for. Because his words kept echoing. Real worth is in heart. The next morning, I called the family together. I told them I would divide the estate equally, because my father didn't want to punish them. He wanted to teach them. Aunt Celia broke down crying. My brother hugged me for the first time in years. As I looked out the window at the rising sun, I felt a strange calm. My father might be gone, but his lesson, his truth, would live through us. And maybe that was his real will all along.